and welcome to Chant a Psalm a Day. Today's Psalm is 38, and I do have to apologize because yesterday I was supposed to go live to share Understanding the Young Child and did not. So that has been postponed. We're going to probably try to go live today and share Understanding the Young Child. But things happened that prevented me from presenting yesterday. So we are going to get started with the Psalm today. It's Psalm 38, and it's a statement: do not forsake I, O Lord, the Most High. Sometimes we may feel that we have been forsaken or we are alone and we don't have an advocate or we don't have someone that values us. So this is a Psalm of David for the memorial offering. So it is an offering, and it is a reflection of one's own frailty, one's own, vulnerability. So in this Psalm 38, forsake I not, is about 22 verses. We're going to tackle it now. So it begins with, O Lord, rebuke I not in your anger, nor discipline I in your wrath. So when we're disciplining children or we're, chastising a child, we don't want to do it in anger or in wrath. And this is what David is speaking of here, for the Most High not to rebuke him in anger nor discipline him in wrath. And that's exclamation mark. So for verse 2, for the Most High arrows have sunk into I, and the Most High's hand has come down on I. So David is not looking at the opponent as having the power to do anything. The opponent doesn't have the power to do anything but by the grace of the Most High. So David is speaking of these arrows from the opponent as the arrows of the Most High sunking into him, and that the hand of the Most High has come down on him. He's not looking at the opponents or the enemy's hand. He's looking at, this is directly from the Most High, and that is where the power is. So in verse 3, David is expressing that there is no soundness in I flesh because of the Most High's indignation. There is no health in I bones because of I sin. So David is looking at himself like, things are happening to me because of me. Okay. In verse 4, for I inequities have gone over I head as a heavy burden. I inequities are too heavy for I. Meaning that David has done something wrong. And we hear about the story of David and Bathsheba and how he had relations with her, but they never talk about the queen of Sheba. So, and the son that David that Solomon had really with Sheba, that was named Menelik. We never hear about that. So the inequities are too much for David to bear. It's heavy. It's a heavy burden. And then he goes on to describe this heavy burden, and he is describing it as his wounds. He's wounded. It's stink and festering, and it's because of his own foolishness. He's not looking at the opponent or the enemy outside doing something. He's looking at himself. So verse 6, I am utterly bowed down and prostrate. All the day I go about mourning. So this is what's happening to him as a result of these inequities that he has done to himself is coming back on him. So David in verse 4 talks about, for I and I sides are filled with burning, and there's no soundness in I and I flesh. Verse 8, I and I feeble and crushed, I and I groan because of the tumult of I and I heart. So David is going through something here. His body is feeling it. He's not um he's not feeling healthy. He's got this burning in his sides. There's no soundness in his flesh. He's going through some stuff. His heart is going through some tumultuous circumstances. And in verse 9, David speaks of the Most High. All David's longing is before the Most High. So David is not prostrating to folks. This is for the Most High. He is longing for the Most High. And his sighing is not hidden from the Most High. So the Most High knows what David is going through, and David knows the Most High knows. So in verse 10, David speaks of his heart throbbing and the strength failing inside of him, and the light of his eyes is gone. And in verse 11, it gets even serious. David's friends and companions stand aloof from David's plague, and his nearest relative stands far off. So David has no one. He has nothing. He has no one on his side advocating for him. His friends and companions are aloof. Okay, his nearest relatives stand far off and don't, So this is happening. This happens in families. It happens all the time. In verse 12 now, David is speaking of ones who seeking his life. He speaks of those who seek I and I life lay snares. Those who seek I and I hurt speak of ruin and meditate treachery all day long. So this is something serious that is happening in terms of David's life and him feeling all these different tumultuous, pangs in his heart, because there's folks out there who seeking his life. Remember, his nearest relative is not dealing with him. His friends and his companions are standing aloof from him. And all day long, the ones who are seeking his life are meditating on treachery, and they're talking about ruining him. So in verse 13, David speaks of describing himself as a deaf individual. I do not hear, as a mute man who does not open his mouth. I have become as a man who does not hear, and in whose mouth are no rebukes. So David is silent. He's as a deaf man, he doesn't hear. He's as a mute man, he doesn't open his mouth. He's become as one who doesn't hear, and in whose mouths are no rebukes. So David is leaving it alone. He's like, I'm not listening to these folks. I'm not going to open my mouth and talk about these folks. That's not going to happen. So David is basically leaving people alone. That's what you got to do. You got to leave folks alone. And in verse 15, David is like, you know what? But for the Most High, I'm going to wait. I'll wait for that, because it is the Most High who's going to answer. So David is setting up this psalm in terms of, this is what the Most High is about. And I am not looking at anyone outside of me that's, causing me these situations. I'm going to wait on the Most High. In verse 16, for David said, only let them not rejoice over me who boast against me when my foot slips. So David is making a request, like, don't let folks rejoice over I, and the folks that boasting when I fall, like when I fall down and broke my arm, people were boasting about that, like, oh, look what happened to her, and da, 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 da. So this is similar to that, in terms of David is like, you know let them stay low. Don't let them rejoice over I, and those who boast against I when my foot slips. So in verse 17, now here's a return. David served this, and now it's a return. For I and I ready to fall. How can you say that? For I am ready to fall, and my pain is ever before me. In verse 18, I confess, or I talk about my inequity. I am sorry for I and I wrongness, I and I sin. So David is prostrating himself. He is asking, he is speaking of being sorry for whatever wrongness he did, and he is going to talk about his inequity. And then in verse 19, he speaks of, but my foes. He's talking about the foes. These folks are vigorous, they are mighty, and many are those who hate me wrongfully. So there's some folks who hate David, who are going to hate you wrongfully. They hate you wrongfully. It's jealousy, envy, whatever it is. They are hateful. And then in verse 20, those who render I and I evil for good accuse I and I because I follow after good. So David is talking about ones who are giving David evil for his goodness. He's about goodness and he's about mercy, compassion. But then here comes the evil doers, the foes, accusing David because David is following after what is good. And notice this happens a lot. Whenever you turn your life around, you stop smoking, you stop drinking, you stop running the streets, you stop doing these things, you're going to lose friends. Okay, you're not gonna be part of that crowd anymore, and you're gonna lose some folks. So in verse 20, David is speaking of those ones who are giving him evil for good, and they're accusing him because he's following after what is good. So in verse 21 and 22, David speaks of, do not forsake me. Do not forsake I and I, O Most High. O my God, be not far from I and I. Make haste to strengthen I and I, O Lord, my future, my salvation. That's what salvation is, your future. So in verse 21 and 22, David is sealing this up with, look, don't forsake I and I, my Most High. Don't be far from I and I, because this is happening. Folks are out here hating. And it's not just folks, it's my nearest relative. It's my friends and companions who I called my companions. They stay aloof. People who stay aloof know they've done you wrong. So they're not going to call you. They're not going to be, in your life like that, because they know they did you wrong. So David is speaking of, because of all that, don't forsake I. Don't be far from I. Make haste, because this is happening. So I ask that my words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart is acceptable in the sight of the Most High, because this is happening to people out here every day. You're trying to do good and you're being attacked. So Psalm 38, do not forsake I, O Most High. That's a given. You're not going to be forsaken. So when we look at that psalm today, I have to applaud it, because it is bountifully blessed. that, and I have to, my chanting bowl. Thank you, thank you. Now we go to the word of the day, radiance. Look at that. We're 15 minutes in. The word of the day is radiance. Divine light shines in and through me. So be a receptor for this. Open your hearts and open your minds and receive this light so that when you receive it, it is going to be, it's going to shine out from the inside out. So the Christ presence within is the essence of I and I inner light. As I live more and more assured of I and I self from this center, I become more adept at using my righteous gifts of divine guidance, wise mind, and strength to direct I and I life. I and I radiant light shines in and through I and I, giving I and I a bless. As I grow in trust of I and I divinity, I and I more easily find it in all others. Beholding another's Christ light is a powerful reminder to I and I that the Most High within one's is their strength, is one's strength in every need. So every need you have, that within you is your strength. This relieves I and I of the temptation to think I know what's best for people or to limit I and I vision of people, of one's. I see one's radiance and lovingly entrust one's to the divine within. I and I am grateful for the light in I and in all people. No one, after lighting a lamp, hides it under a jar or puts it under a bed, but puts it on a lampstand so that those who enter may see the light. This is from Luke chapter 8, verse 16. So go and be a light. This is the word today. Shine, radiance, radiance. And radiance is that light, that divine light shines in and through me. So you are, I would say, a embodiment of that light. You are that light. Whether you know it or not, you have that light. And when you allow that to shine, you're going to be that receptor and receiver of that light. Okay? So that is the word for today, radiance. And then we have the verse of the day. The verse of the day today is from Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 7 to 8. This is from Jeremiah. Oh, I love this. But blessed is the one who trusts in the Most High, whose assuredness is in the Most High. You are resting assured of the Most High, not confident. Confident is a lie. Okay, we're going to get straight to that word, assure. You are sure in the Most High. And the ones who are blessed, who trust in the Most High, shall be as a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots through the stream. And the roots does not fare when heat comes. Leaves of the tree are always green, and the tree has no worries in a year of drought and never fails to bear fruit. So Jeremiah, in the verse of the day today, is talking about the ones who trust in the Most High, who have this assured knowledge of the Most High, and that know that one is there, right? They're going to be as a tree. And we've heard this. We've heard this language before, that you are as a tree planted by the rivers of water that bringeth forth fruit in due time. So this is what this light is that shines in and through you. That light is what is going to give that tree the strength to grow. Once that light knows that that light comes from the Most High and not from themselves, that this love and compassion and mercy is from a higher, what is above and not what is below. So I love that. I love that this word of the day is a direct reflection of the verse of the day and the psalm of the day. So we have completed our trinity of Chant the Psalm in 20 minutes. The psalm today, 38, the word today, radiance, and the verse of the day from Jeremiah chapter 17. Go read him. 7 to 8, Jeremiah. But blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose assurer is in him, who's sure about the Most High. See, something has happened to under my eye here. I'm gonna have to put some noonie oil. I have some noonie oil that I make, and I just put some underneath my eye. Yeah, this is noonie oil. It is so, oh my goodness. I got a testimony yesterday from someone I gave the noonie oil to, and it was amazing testimony that they felt they put the noonie oil on their back. The pain went away completely. So, yeah, I'm looking at this eye. This eye was swollen. Oh my goodness. It was, now it's underneath that's happening. It's like a bump right there. See it? So, I am going to end this chant of Psalm with Max Lucado. And on the 21st of March, this is from Walking with the Savior. And the 21st of March talks about follow the teachings. Everything that was written in the past was written to teach I and I. The scriptures give us patience and encouragement so that we can have a future. Romans chapter 15, verse 4. Right? Chapter 15, verse 4. Romans. And Max Lucado has a comment here. Your life came with an owner's manual. When you follow the teachings in this manual, you will be fully equipped and your life will operate much more smoothly. What did I said that in previous Psalms. Your life is going to operate smoothly once you have put all your energy and heart and mind and body and life into that is higher than you. Once you do that, it's gonna run smoothly. Follow the teachings. So in your life, in your financial life, you're gonna learn how to save money because you're following the teachings of Christ, right? You're gonna learn how to invest your money in areas where it's going to reap the most benefits, right? You're not going to throw your money out there. You work hard. You work hard for your money. You should be able to save some of it. Stop all of this, throwing it out there all the time. So, thank you, Max Lucado. The Bible I have actually is by Max Lucado. This is the Bible that I have, and it is Um, it is by Max Lucado. Yep, see, it's Max Lucado devotional, the devotional Bible, Experiencing the Heart of the Most High. So I have that. And then I found this, Walking with the Savior, that's Max Lucado. So I love this little book because it gives a, you know what? I didn't even have my light on. It gives a good reading of each day to give you that strength. So here we are ending our chant to Psalm under 30 minutes. So as we outro, I'm gonna outro with chant to Psalm a day. And you all have a blessed day. Stay tuned for Understanding the Young Child. I had to postpone it yesterday, so we may do it today. Yesterday was busy. I was swamped. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in the sight of the Most High. Thank you so much for joining. Be a radiant light. Be a light. Have a blessed day.